Hi everyone, it's Kim from the Shamrock Quilt Studio, and I have a quick video for you today, and this is on a product review. Lots of times when you're working on a project or you're following a pattern, they may recommend some tools that help you get the job done better. Well, I'm here to do that today. I am working on a project that's got a bunch of these bear claw blocks. And if you'll notice, each one of these little points involves taking two squares and making a square that is half black and half yellow, so you get that point in the design. And the way the pattern is written, you cut them and sew them, and then you take that finished block or that finished square and you trim it up to a certain size so that all those pieces fit together. Well, I was having problems getting those certain sizes cut because you wanted to make sure that that diagonal line where the two fabrics came together was exactly diagonal and it was cut at the exact same size. For this one, they're cut at 2 1/4 inches. Now, I tried a couple of things. I tried just using a regular ruler. I tried using a little wider ruler with a 45-degree line on it. I tried using my smallest square, which is 6 1/2 inches, but I found this one was just too cumbersome to use on a small block. And I thought I had one. Look how small that is, and you're using this big old ruler. It just didn't make any sense. But I found a little ruler at Hobby Lobby, and I know they sell these at Joann's as well, and you can get them online, and you probably could get one at your local quilt store as well. But this is a little 2 1/2 inch ruler from Fiskars, and I'm not necessarily saying that the Fiskars model is the best one you would ever buy. What I'm telling you is you may need a 2 1/2 inch square ruler. And this one works really well. Now, there are 16 of those little things on each block. And I knew from the beginning that I was going to do at least 4 blocks. So that's a lot of trimming that has to be done. And to try to wrangle this big old square around all of those, it just wasn't going to work. I tried it on a few, but I ended up buying this. It was a few bucks. It wasn't super expensive, and I'll put the details about this one down below in the description, along with what I paid for this. And you could always catch it on sale, and it'd be a little bit less expensive. It's not super expensive. But this one allows you to put right on that diagonal line the fabric that you're cutting, in my case, to get that lined up so that it's just a perfect fit. You can line that up and then trim appropriately to the size you need. And it really sped things up greatly. And all of my blocks were the same size. They all went together beautifully, and all my points were preserved. Now, I only needed 2 1/4, so for my purposes, I put some little marks here at the 2 1/4 inch space, so I didn't mistake the edge of the ruler for the size I needed. And you could do the same with any ruler if you had a different size, or if you needed to maybe mark it with some masking tape or some washi tape. But it worked great, and it was very handy to have. It's easy to use a small ruler because you don't have to worry about sliding it under your machine or under the fabric. And what do you do with it? So it's tiny, it stores well, it's easy to use. It was great. The only complaint that I have about it is the fact that when you're doing something like that and you've got that seam down the middle, and you put that seam on that diagonal line, it does tend to want to rock a little bit. So I think what I'm going to do for mine is maybe put some little sticky dots underneath them, either something like a thimble pad or a dot of even hot glue might work. Just, I don't know exactly what I'm going to use yet, but something on the back side of this to kind of support it on each side so that that seam down the middle doesn't cause it to rock. And you have to be a little careful because it's small and you don't want to cut yourself. So those two cautions in mind, I wholly recommend having a small ruler when you're working on small bits for your blocks. I hope this was helpful to you. If you're planning on working for that, see if you can find you a little ruler that you can use for it as well. And I think you'll be happy. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing to the channel. And we'll see you next week at the Shamrock Quilt Studio. Bye.